Welcome to Marking Students' Written Work Online, a guide by me, Adam Beale. For today's guide, we'll be using Microsoft Word as this is the most popular program that students use to turn in work. Now that there has been a big shift to online work, it is important that we as teachers can still provide valuable feedback that will allow students to continue their studies with as little disruption as possible. By learning how to use the following functions, we can ensure our students' written work continues to improve. By the end of this short course, you will be able to download the student's work to your computer, set the language proofing to English, create and apply a marking color scheme, and add comments to the student's work. We're currently looking at my inbox in my email, and I can see that that student has sent me some work. Here, first, I can simply click on the email, and it will bring up that email in full in the main box. Okay, I can see that Sergio has sent me an essay. So of course I want to access the essay and I want to start correcting the essay. First, what I should do is go up to the file and click on the file. This will show me what is exactly in the Word document without actually opening the Word application itself. I should do this because it allows me to see that there is actually something on the document and that my student has sent me the correct piece of work. If this, for example, was blank, I could then email the student and say, look, Sergio, you sent me a document, but there's nothing on there. Can you try again? Okay, so I'm going to come out of this now. We will come back to looking at the features here a little bit later in the course. What we are interested in doing now is simply downloading this file so that it's saved on our computer and then we can access it at any time. If we go up to the file and then move our cursor onto the arrow, which is pointing down into the horizontal line, and we can see immediately that it highlights and flags it saying it's for download. And we want to do that. So I'm going to click on download, and then automatically the computer will download this file to my download folder. Now I'm going to open up this file by clicking on it here in the bottom left hand corner, and this should automatically open the Microsoft Word application, and we can start to look at the student's work and then we can begin to correct that work. Here is the essay. Okay, everything is where it should be. I'm going to enable editing here at the top, and now we have full access to all of the tools within Microsoft Word. Now it's your turn. Use this checklist and by all means go back and watch the video as many times as you want and try to apply the different steps to your own work. When you're ready, move on to the next part of the video. What we might see when we open the document is that the majority of the text is underlined in red. Normally in Word, this is to detect that there is an error. What's actually happening here is that the program is detecting that on their computer, their language setting is Spanish. And so your particular program of Microsoft Word is detecting that the words should be in Spanish, okay, but they're written in English. This is a very simple fix, and we can do this in two ways. The first thing we need to do is to highlight the text. We can do that simply by clicking our left button of the mouse, highlighting the text, and dragging all the way to the bottom, so the text is all now highlighted. We then take our mouse and go to the bottom of the screen. We can see that it says Spanish Spain. The program has detected that it's in Spanish, but it's not. We know that. We want to change it to English. If we click on this, it will bring up a box here. This is a language box. We can choose whichever language we wish the computer to detect this text. We want English, of course. We click on English now. Okay, it's highlighted in blue. We move down to OK, click OK, and we can see now that the underlining in red has disappeared completely. The second way to change the language is just as easy. Again, I need to highlight the text. This time I'm going to move to the top of the screen. I'm going to go up to the top banner and click on Review. This will bring up a new set of tools, and we're interested in the language button, which we will click on. this gives us two options. We want to set the proofing language. Again, we click and it brings up a familiar language box. We've already seen this before. So again, we go to English and click on OK, and you can see that the red underlining has disappeared again.
Now it's your turn. Use this checklist and by all means go back and watch the video as many times as you want and try to apply the different steps to your own work. When you're ready, move on to the next part of the video.
To implement my marking scheme, I can do some very simple things and use some very simple tools. To begin with, I need to read the text and I need to see where there are errors, where there is language which I like and I think is good, and also perhaps some words or expressions or part of a sentence which I don't believe should be there, and we can simply delete them. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm not happy with how this student has started the essay. Okay, an essay is a formal piece of writing, and depending on the job is perhaps not the best way to start an essay. So I'm going to highlight this as I would highlight anything, clicking on the left and dragging across. Okay, now what pops up is a very simple toolbar. And I'm going to use this. This is very useful for us. It means we don't have to go up to the top. It's automatically there. I want to change this and highlight it as red because this indicates that there's an error. So if I click on the arrow button, it brings up the available colors. I want red. I go down to red, and you can see by clicking on it, it now stays red. Fantastic. So I've now highlighted an error. I'm going to continue to read. So here the student says smart clothes to show how smart they are and how mature they are. That's a bit of repetition here. So I want to get rid of some of this. It's not necessary to be there. So I'm going to say to show how smart, I'm going to highlight they are here. And this is because it's repetition. It is an error, but we might find that some students will create an awful lot of errors. So if I highlight everything in red, I then also have to comment on it, and it makes a lot of work for me. I've highlighted what I would like to delete, or I would like the student to leave out. And here I'm going to move up to the top bar. And I want to use this particular tool, which is called the strike through. If I click on this, you can see now that my student knows by looking at the key that this language or these words are not necessary in the text. Okay, as I continue to read through, I can see this particular part I like. It's well constructed. So I'm going to highlight again, and this time to show that it's good language, I want yellow. So I hover over the small toolbox. I'm going to hover on to text highlight color, click on the arrow, and I'm going to click on yellow. And so there we can see very simply how we can work our way through the text, highlighting errors, highlighting language which does not need to be there, and also highlighting language which I think is particularly good.
Now it's your turn. Use this checklist and by all means go back and watch the video as many times as you want and try to apply the different steps to your own work. When you're ready, move on to the next part of the video. Now that I've applied my color code, highlighting errors, good language, and language which I don't think is necessary, I can now start to make comments on the essay, and in particular I'd like to make comments on the individual errors. This is very simple to do. So I'm going to go to my first error, which is here at the top, which I've marked in red. Again, I'm going to highlight it, again dragging across by holding down the left button. So I've done this. What I'm going to do now is to move up to the top bar where it says review. If I click on this, again it brings up a whole new range of different tools. What I'm interested here is where it says new comment. Okay, and it says as it comes up, insert a comment. And this is what we want to do. We want to tell our student why we think this is an error and how they can change it, and we can give them some options to do that. So if I click on new comment, if you look now to the right of the document, I now have a box here. And this is where I can type my comments. Here you can see on the right that I've made 3 comments about the 3 words which I've highlighted in red. In my first comment,
I've left 2 questions to get the student thinking about the error they've made. In the second box, I've simply corrected the word, which I think should be there. And then again, I've corrected, but I've said why I think that particular word is wrong. And so I would continue to do this throughout the whole essay, working my way through, adding comments, adding questions, and making suggestions. When I've finished, the final thing that I would do if we scroll down is just to add a key for the different colors that you have decided to use. This is just in case it's the first time that a student has been marked by yourself, or simply to remind the students of what those colors represent. Now it's your turn. Use this checklist, and by all means go back and watch the video as many times as you want, and try to apply the different steps to your own work.